Out though how this game's going to go down as we get into bans and picks, and the first ban from the Super Hot crew will be Zilean, aimed at Kerp there in the mid lane. Red side Kassadin ban is going to come out this time from Millenium as well. That won't be left up. Fizz as well. So currently 2 bans targeted straight in there at Kerp. Maokai has also been removed. Very strong right now. We've seen it not just in the LCS but also in the Challenger games last night.
All of the junglers are still available. And with Impaler and Kottenx both liking to play aggressive, in-your-face junglers, also both of them have run Rengar in the past. We may actually see them trying to pick one of those champions, so it's interesting. The Gragas is still up, and I wonder if it's going to get taken off the table as the final pick, and the answer is no, because Millenium take Irelia off. So most of the assassins are gone. Yasuo is still up. Selfie always has Yasuo banned against him. Will he try run it? You can combo that with Gragas particularly effectively. So we'll see if Super Crew want to give Selfie his strongest solo queue champion.
That's the thing with Gragas in there for easy knockups. Millenium might even be forced here to be taking Yasuo away from them. That's if that Gragas does get locked in, which it now has. So Gragas going in there. Of course, we've seen Gragas in the support role as well. What will Millenium go for? They take Elise in for Kottenx and actually Corki for Creaton.
We'll see if he's going to be impactful. I mean, Kerp had very strong words. Creaton is sick. We actually seen in the listen-ins yesterday, Creaton sounded like me and was blowing his nose because he's got a cold. He's struggling at the moment. And Creaton is the man that was carrying Millenium last week. He had very, very strong performances. And we need to see if he can do the same thing again. So Tristana and Cogmore are up and available if MrRalleZ wants to go that route. As is Twitch, if they want to go for an assassin sort of pick-off kind of style combo with that Yasuo. And MrRalleZ is one of the more versatile AD carries, so a lot of options up for him.
Let's see, Selfie there discussing this Yasuo pick-up. Will they go for it? It obviously gives then Kerp the chance to play whatever he wants, so obviously outside of what's already banned. And there's a lot of mid lane bans. Kassadin, Ahri, Syndra, Fizz and Zilean all banned away. And it will be Yasuo locked in then for Selfie. They'll also take Morgana for KaSing.
So very comfortable picks here, I think, for Super Hot Crew. Selfie's getting his main. KaSing's played a lot of Morgana. 5 games already. This will be his 6th. And of course that Gragas for the top lane for Mimer. Definitely the flavor of the month pick. Now Mimer has tended to go towards those tanks, you know, like Shyvana, like Mundo for example. I mean, Mimer's played 15 games of Shyvana, so we'll see how he handles himself on Gragas. And there's a lot of thoughts here for Millenium and how they're going to deal with the aggressive split pushing power that Yasuo puts down on the table. I think this pick and ban more so than the previous game. Neither of these teams have fully maybe been aware because it has gone slightly different at the time they're taking to lock these champions in.
Is it going to be Karthus? It is going to be Karthus for Kerp. Interesting decision from this one up against Yasuo in that mid lane. They take Jree, Thresh as well while we're there.
I don't know if I like this because Millenium ran Karthus into a poke comp from Fnatic several weeks ago. And Kerp was never in the position he needed to be to do the damage. Gragas is going to knock him away. Yasuo is super mobile. If anybody does get soloed out, and you know, I mean, this is a little odd in terms of picks. This could be a jungle. Gragas,
no,
who's going to get locked?
It's KaSing. He's
just trolling. Okay, because if there's more disengage from Super Hot Crew, it's going to be so important for Kerp to be in the right place at the right time. If he does not use his passive and die with Defile on in the middle of the Super Hot Crew squad, he's simply not going to have the impact that he needs to. You know, Black Shield's going to block some of the damage, going to block the CC. Gragas can sustain fairly well. Yasuo's going to have a damage shield. While it's not massive, all of these things help negate the power of that Requiem as well. So, a lot of pressure on Kerp to be at the right place. I mean, Repel can move you out of the damage. Rocket Jump can move you away. So for Super Hot Crew, it's a matter of not staying grouped and using Buster Shot and the Explosive Cast to get rid of the threats from Millenium.
Very interesting there. Kerp obviously feels strongly about this matchup and his chances in that. Otherwise, obviously, you just wouldn't pick it. What is Kevin going to run, though, here against this Gragas? I'd love to see a Gangplank, but it's not going to be Gangplank.
I'm gonna put an argument forward. Millenium as a team have sometimes panic-picked when the pick and ban phase hasn't gone to their liking. Kottenx pulled out KaSing a few weeks ago. When we interviewed the team afterwards and spoke to them, they said, well, we actually have no idea why we picked that. It didn't make sense. It was just panic. Similar thing happened when we talked to Millenium after they lost to Fnatic, when he, ran Karthus into that poke comp. In this scenario, for Millenium, if they ever catch Super Hot Crew in a group with the peel and the protection and the CC Thresh puts down, yes, Karthus will have a lot of time to deal damage. But every single member of Super Hot Crew has some way, shape, or form to get out of the defile, to get out of the range. So as long as they don't get bursted down too hard, they should be able to win the team fights. On the other side for Millenium, if Kerp gets a good Requiem and damage down, Irelia and Elise are so good at cleaning up, are so good at finishing the fight off. So that's what Millenium will be looking for. Kerp to potentially initiate, flash Wall of Pain, get Defile down, get Requiem out, and then allow Kevin and Kottenx to just run Rampage and tear the rest of them apart.
Going to be a very interesting one. See how Kerp is going to do with that Karthus in the mid lane. And now that those team comps are locked in, which mid laner do you think will win this match? Tweet hashtag SHC Selfie or hashtag MILKerp to @LOL Esports. Funnily enough, when we highlight these two guys, that we see a bit of a different matchup. Yasuo versus Karthus in the mid.
So I never vote when these things happen because we're about to watch the game, but I feel Kerp should have the advantage. That Wall of Pain CC is completely negated by the Sweeping Blade on Yasuo on his E. He can dash to minions, he can dash to champions. If he gets the knock-up from his Q, he can jump onto Kerp as well, sorry, Selfie rather. And if Selfie can get ahead and play aggressively, he can make Kerp's life so difficult in that mid lane. One of the things that you run into Karthus is assassins, high burst, mobile mages. And Yasuo fits the bill perfectly.
So what you actually meant to say was that Selfie has the advantage.
Yes, I said the wrong name at the beginning, yes. Yasuo, greater than Karthus, in my opinion.
Cool story, bro.
Yes, there
Guys,
we go.
We're going to get into the game. It's an important one, this, to figure out, number one, where these two teams are going to finish in that middle of the pack, because we've got no idea right now. And also, to see how many tiebreakers we're going to have at the end of the day, how many more great games to come your way. But let's get into it then, as we see the Super Hot Crew take on Millenium. And are we going to see anything funky? For example, an Irelia who doesn't buy at the start. No, there we go. Kevin walked back a little bit. Got himself a Doran's Blade. So we did see, and we have to keep an eye on that one as well, with Diamond's escapades earlier on.
The other thing I want to see, I'm going to go back to this mid lane. Froggen is a very firm believer that Karthus can beat LeBlanc in lane. Faker mirrored these sentiments several months ago before LeBlanc lost the silence on her Q. And one of the strategies that Froggen does, and that he was extremely adamant at IEM World Championships about, was level 1, put a point into lane waste, and you burn through your whole mana pool to get lane dominance and lane control. Of course, Karthus will be able to outrange a lot of Yasuo's abilities and spells. So if Kerp can keep Selfie at arm's reach, that's how he can maintain control in that mid lane. But it is very dependent on landing all of those lane wastes, and we'll see if Kerp agrees with that sentiment and, tries to play super aggressive in that lane.
Actually gone with the exhaust, which is one thing why a lot of those typical assassins that we saw before have kind of fell off the wayside because of the fact that exhaust became so strong. The likes of Zed, who we saw all the time, as soon as the exhaust got more powerful, completely out of the game. We'll see how much of an impact that has here for Kerp.
Yeah, I think this laning phase is going to be so important for either team. If Super Hot Crew give up some kills and are put in a position where Karthus can just impact those side lanes, obviously that's going to be how Millenium looks to take control of the game. But on the same token, I feel like Super Hot Crew may have slightly more tools available to them when it comes to split pushing. The wave clear from Gragas is pretty good, and we'll see. There's that, dash we were talking about on Selfie. Dancing in and out and dodging at least the one lane waste. Kerp is not making any real effort to actually poke him down.
And his thumb's going to be very active on that Karthus. Throughout that whole engagement there, all I could think of is how Kerp's thumb looks at that point where he's trying to aim with his trackball with those lay wastes while he's dashing around.
I'm going to pose you a question then. If that's what you're thinking when he's doing Karthus, how do you imagine his trackball's moving when he's playing Fizz?
Well, All I can say is to our producers, I think we need an extra camera just for Kerp's thumb. The trackball camera. We might have to bring that one in later. And see how that one's going down.
Yeah, one
person
You're
clap
awesome.
for that.
You're awesome.
He wants a trackball cam. That's good.
Okay, so back in lane. Kerp, obviously the range advantage is feeling a little bit behind in CS. Selfie's been playing fairly intelligently in terms of how he's dancing around this lane. But neither is really looking to poke him down. Of course, Selfie at a bigger disadvantage, being melee. The rest of the lanes, Corki into Tristana. Corki should have the advantage early on in terms of poke, in terms of, you know, keeping MrRalleZ on the back foot. And in the top lane, Mimer should have the advantage against Kevin. Gragas is a big lane bully. And, you know, Irelia needs a little bit of time before she can really start to scale up. We've seen in the previous game how Irelia was bullied around by that Renekton.
Well, if anyone can do it, might just be Kevin. A big fan of this Irelia pick. I'm sure would have picked it a lot more this season if he could have had the opportunity to do that. Meanwhile, in this mid lane, let's keep tabs on that Selfie. 24 to the 19 CS of Kerp, giving him the slight level advantage as well. He's just going to keep that pressure up. Here comes Kottenx, though. There's no ward actually down here from the side. It may not even need it there as the wall of pain goes down. Selfie will use his flash early on to get away.
Yeah, had actually just dashed through the minion, so couldn't get more distance away from Kottenx. Still has cleanse available to him. At the end of the day, no flash means 1 or 2 more positional errors. And that can be Millenium's way into the first blood. So Mimer's bullying around Kevin, it's not costing CS. Teams are relatively even. And Kerp is burning through his mana pool just to try and keep that minion wave away from the tower. But a very slow start. It's Kottenx that's making the first move, second move, as he's now going to come up to this top lane and try help Kevin out. If Mimer goes in aggressively, he could be biting off more than he can chew.
I always feel like Mimer is one of the safer top laners, though. Not someone who we often seen going super aggressive and overextending himself. We can see already here, he's quite happy to just sit back behind his own line of minions and last hit.
I absolutely love what he just did. He put the barrel down on the siege minion to prevent Kevin coming in to get the CS and pick up that gold. And he's doing the same thing again to the ranged minions. Mimer is using his mana and, oh, they're going to jump on him.
Oh, they're going to go for him. Can they actually kill him off here, though? There is a push out. Oh, they're going to go into the tower. They probably could have there, you know. Mimer's so very low. He had flash available to him, but both Kevin and Kottenx did as well. We see there may be a little hesitation coming out of Millenium.
Playing it safe on their side and not overcommitting to the tower dive. The body slam had just been used for Mimer, so in terms of CC, there was no knock-up under that tower. But a level 4 tower dive without any sort of armor outside your runes and masteries, it's always a little risky. So Kottenx, with a more positive start to the game, Impaler's just been farming up his jungle, moving around the map. He's finally going to make his first move in the bottom lane, and it's going to be the Cocoon or Dark Binding. If neither land, there's no real attempt that's going to happen here. So let's see if Jree or Creaton will get caught out. They've got a fairly sizable minion wave to hide behind.
Be KaSing, you have to feel it to start this one, but sat straight behind the minions. Not exactly easy to get in there from this one, and there we actually see Impaler starts off his recall. Creaton and Jree playing super safe there behind the minion line. And there we go, Cocoon has landed on towards Jree, flashes away from the Dark Binding, close. And they've got the support flash now, which could set them up in the next minutes. Yeah,
despite the time Impaler invested, he does manage to get the Summoner spell out of Jree, and you're 100% right, Joe. That can set them up for a future play. Teleport used by Mimer to go back to the top lane. Selfie, half of his cooldown on flash is available, so let's see if Kottenx is going to swing around back to this mid lane to try put some pressure on him. We see Selfie was actually clearing out his Wraith camp, and now moving back up to this middle lane to wave clear. And with that Steel Tempest is going to actually clear that wave out fairly effectively, despite the fact he has to go in into the wave to clear it out. Can't do it safely from range. The mobility really plays into his favor. Both of these teams setting themselves up for the long haul. Kerp has got Tear of the Goddess as his first item. So he's delaying his Karthus power spike in favor of stronger mid to late game.
Get that Tear stacking up with his lay waste. Always good at this stage. If you look at the top lane items as well, Catalyst first in for Mimer. And of course, Kevin on Irelia going to be moving up to a Trinity Force as quickly as he possibly can. Level on the CS isn't really up there, despite the fact that Mimer was bullying Kevin around in those previous few moments. Mid lane, the Zeal, of course, was chosen by Selfie. AD carry's not actually been back to buy yet, but we still see a 10 CS lead for MrRalleZ.
Yeah, Creaton and Jree just on that back foot and not really playing too aggressively. We've seen a few times when Creaton goes in for those phosphorus bombs, KaSing is actually using the Black Shield to block some of that damage out, as Creaton does have a fair amount of mixed magic and physical damage. But on the same token, you know, Creaton is the player that Kerp himself was saying, is he going to be useful? Creaton is a little under the weather this week, and there's still 2 games to play today. Super Hot Crew now, and then the Copenhagen Wolves later in the day.
Both of which incredibly important matches at different ends of the table, as Mimer going to knock Kevin backwards there. Actually good damage coming back there from Kevin. Are they going to be able to finish him off? Don't forget, Requiem is now up because Kerp is level 8, so you can't afford to blindly trade and not think about that Requiem because it will kill you.
It's fairly low level, low damage at this level, around 290 on that Requiem before resistances come into play. So whenever you see anybody's hit bars going around that 200 mark, you need to start getting nervous. They Jree,
he's in trouble. No flash. We expected it to come back to this lane, and it will do. And it's MrRalleZ that gets the first blood here for the Super Hot Crew. Seemed like a pretty obvious thing to happen to me, but it's not like you can just back out of the lane and not get the farm. They lose their support. They lose first blood. Looks like they're going to be losing the dragon as well.
Yeah, very, very smart play from the Super Hot Crew. They punished that flash being unavailable perfectly, and Jree, he just ate the Dark Binding. I mean, he was moving up to try and set that ward up, but unfortunately gives up first blood, and it goes to MrRalleZ. MrRalleZ himself has had an incredibly quiet Super Week. Him and KaSing have not necessarily been the exact root cause of losing games, but they haven't exactly helped their team either. So for MrRalleZ and KaSing to pick up that kill with the assistance of Impaler, who himself is now finally on the board in terms of kills, assists rather, is doing already better than both of his previous matches. And I would dare say it's because Millenium are playing very passive themselves. Kottenx has tried to gank the middle and top lane, yes, but none of the lanes have been playing super aggressively. Kevin's being bullied. Kerp was being zoned away by Selfie early, and Creaton and Jree, they did not go very aggressive early on. You know, they were down in CS until obviously MrRalleZ backed a moment or two ago.
I know, and we saw Mimer go low in the top where you would have felt that a dive with Irelia and Elise might actually be possible. Kevin already taking a big hit here. He's going to try and be brought into it. There is the repel coming in, and Impaler not really timing that one as amazing as he wanted to. There's the kickback onto Impaler. He's going to go down. Here comes Requiem as well. Mimer goes low from that. Oh, flashes away from the Q though, and it'll be a 1 for nothing. Impaler dying.
Very important to note that Kerp did not get an assist on that Requiem. So the cooldown is now blown. It was not impactful in that top lane. But Millenium do get themselves a kill on the board. It does go to Kevin, who was struggling a little bit. MrRalleZ is hooked.
Hooked in there, but can they finish him off? He'll flash. Flash used pretty early there, the fastest they could really after being hooked in. And the flay coming down, so that leaves him without that. But of course, he is Tristana as well. And well, it didn't really help Candy Panda out in that last game, if we're being honest, that he can jump away, but does give him at least some safety as Mimer may be the target.
So MrRalleZ is not running lifesteal on his Runes of Masteries. He's just got the 6% from both of those Dorans. We'll talk about that as Mimer's been dove.
Yeah, no flash. Nothing to get away from this one. He's just going to look to try and kill off Kottenx, who dumps in, jumps back out, and Kevin with an auto attack will finish off the kill. Very patient play by Kottenx.
Yes, it really, really was. That body slam was so close to actually taking him down, but he managed to avoid the damage. And now it's Millenium that are actually punishing Super Hot Crew. KaSing's gone in. There is a flash on Jree, doesn't need it though. So Soul Shackles has been used, and MrRalleZ has sustained himself up thanks to those potions. And obviously the lifesteal from the Doran's Blades. He's going for the Infinity Edge first. The reason I highlight that, Tristanas this week have been going for either Static Shiv first into Eye Edge, or in this particular match going Eye Edge. It also means once Creaton gets his Trinity Force finished, he should be able to have a larger power spike and in theory be able to bully MrRalleZ somewhat. but it does mean Millenium have to play aggressively and have to be in the faces of Super Hard Crew, ideally with Jree setting up more of those death sentences.
Well, we see now that MrRalleZ actually picked up a Vamp Scepter, so wanting to get a bit more sustain in that lane, knowing that he could have, especially with that flash down, some unsafer times in his farming course. He's currently 10 CS behind. That's a fairly decent swing. Creaton was behind in that lane in the opening moments. Top lane is also by now very even. Mid lane, that's also really equalized itself.
Yeah, one of the theories for maybe Creaton and Jree actually making up that CS difference, once Jree had no flash from the fairly early gank, it does tend to make you play more defensively without that safety summoner. We do see Kottenx is moving in on Selfie, and this could be a 2-on-1 in just a moment.
Oh, Wall of Pain going down there. Can they lock Selfie up? He just goes dancing through half the minion wave and loses about half of his HP. And now they're going to go for Kevin once again, camping on that top lane. Kevin just going to dive in there. There is the barrel coming off, and it's a point-blank range cocoon. Belly slams him against the wall. Kevin will go down, and Impaler gets his first kill of the weekend.
Very well played by Mimer and Impaler. Mimer actually knocked Kevin into Impaler so we could land a point-blank cocoon. Selfie's even roamed up to the top lane, so it's the first tower. Super Crew got the first dragon, and they've got themselves a small gold lead for the time being, but it's a very smart play between Impaler and Mimer. Impaler's ganks have been far more impactful than Kottenx's in this particular matchup. And very smart play.
See if Kottenx can get a bit of revenge for that one. He's currently on the bottom side of the map. Say before MrRalleZ using his flash after he was hugged before by Jree, which means that they're naturally playing a little bit more defensive here and will be sat back. What's Selfie going to do? He's actually going to dash straight in towards Kerp. May even be going for this one. Exhaust goes down. Kerp is still pretty low. Tower hit there, and Kerp just flashes away from it. Oh, Selfie flashes in and gets the kill. Brilliantly done.
That is why Yasuo is banned against Selfie. That was very well executed. Even through the exhaust, Selfie was able to take Kerp out. So Kerp now no flash, no exhaust. He does have Requiem available. We'll see if Millenium want to set themselves up for a dragon fight. But I mean, that's two full health champions. The exhaust comes down. Despite the fact that it is going to negate some of Selfie's ultimate, it just wasn't enough. Flash whirlwind, and that's a dead Kerp. Just well executed. I mean, there's not much more to say about that.
Gonna give Selfie a nice chunk of gold because he gets all this farm as well. I already got that static shift and a pickaxe in there, so not like he's not doing good amounts of damage here. Actually, Kevin just came from the top side of the map to try and help cover this middle lane as well, which didn't really do too much for them, other than the fact that this dragon is now live. And Kevin, you'd expect, will stick around. He does have teleport, though, so he's actually going to be heading home. There we see Selfie getting the big advantage in this one, 68-32 over Kerp, and after that first kill there, well,
yep.
Can't argue with it so far.
I agree with the theory. I do think Yasuo, again, if you execute correctly, can deal with Karthus. Selfie's pulling ahead in CS. The one thing Millenium need to be careful of, if they engage for this dragon battle, they need to avoid Kerp. If Kerp can get into a good position with Defile and then die with Defile on, that is how Millenium will win team fights. Also, Kevin is going to be countering that push in the top lane. Mimer's roamed down, so it'll be a teleport needed from Kevin to join the fight. And I do think Millenium, they're just continuing to show they want to go for the late game. Kerp is going to Tear and Rod of Ages, two stacking items. So he's not going to be super terrifying for quite a while. It's going to take him another 10, 15 minutes, you know, maybe completing a death cap and that Archangel Staff before really we see some massive hard-hitting Requiems.
So far, the single Requiem that we've seen didn't really do all that much in the top lane. Dragon been up for a while here, but it doesn't look like either team really ready to go for it at this stage. We still have both AD carries down on the bottom side of the map. MrRalleZ's flash is now back up, so extra safety back in his kit. Yeah,
and with the fact that Kerp is now a level 2 Requiem, he does have some additional ability power. And Creaton's got a Trinity Force against the pickaxe BF sword of MrRalleZ. What Kerp really needs to even accelerate and get further ahead is his side lanes to look for opportunities with the help of Kottenx. Because if they play aggressively and get their opponents low, get them committed to team fights, you create opportunities for Requiem. you create opportunities for Requiem plays. But if your side lanes are playing passively, defensively, and reactively, you never create those opportunities. The ward in the pit means Impaler has come back, but I think this should be secured.
Yeah, Impaler
very quick.
Yeah, he came off his recall there, just realizing that they were going for it. But Millenium too fast for the Super Hot crew, and able to pick up their first dragon of the game. Bit of a strange one there with the Super Hot crew having a gold lead, a kill lead, and having the timer after picking up the first dragon that they give it away so easily.
Yeah, Super Hot crew were not willing to commit to a potential team fight, so they backed away. We'll get to that in a second because Kottenx is looking to set something up. This is exactly what Millenium need. If they can make a play on MrRalleZ and get Requiem involved, they can get some more kills, but you need to land your skill shots.
Yeah, literally everything missing there. Not able to land the hook. The Q from Kottenx after MrRalleZ jumped away. Didn't have the range to land onto KaSing. And that will mean that there shouldn't be too much going on in this bottom lane. He tries another Q there, but KaSing just sidestepping that. AD carries again. Creaton still holding on to that lead with his Trinity Force. And Impaler's actually come down to bottom now as well. He's not going to be spotted. Not
just yet. Even going to know that there's no vision here from Millenium's side. So we'll see if they can punish it. Creaton's not in lane. So I'm not really thinking anything's going to come of this. And part of the reason Millenium are so good at taking Dragon as well as Baron is those lay wastes do a lot of damage to single targets. It's double damage in the queue, if memory serves correctly. And, you know, Karthus is a champion that we used to see a whole lot. We don't see all that often. So 1v2, can Selfie get a double knock-up? That's what's going to help him, and he may even actually go aggressive if he does.
Well, double or no knock-up there from that one. He's actually running rings around Millenium. He's got Kevin now chasing him as well. Layaway's going to be coming in. Kottenx, can he actually land it? He dashes off to the minion. He's free. He's home free. Not going to go down. And now they're going to turn it around. Going towards Kottenx. Cocoon land. Kottenx does go down, and Selfie in the back still alive. Here comes Gragas as well. Will knock away Karthus, and I don't think they can chase onto Kevin. Mimer maybe was looking to bring Kerp the other side and back towards the team, but Selfie got away and they turned around the kill.
After calling Selfie out in our featured matchup and at the beginning of the game, we talked about how Selfie is more impactful on aggressive assassins. He gets his hands on his signature champion and is already displaying an ability to outplay multiple members of Millenium. If they do not find an answer for Selfie, he can get himself onto Kerp or to Creaton or Kottenx, blow them up, and the rest of Super Hot crew can just win team fights going forward. So it's a good position to be in for the Super Hot crew because Selfie is playing confidently, he's got a CS lead, and he's outplaying the moves Millenium are making.
See Kerp now headed back home after all that though, with 2,000 gold to spend, so going to be picking up an item or two to bring him back in, and actually will finish off his Archangel staff there, so I'll be stacking up quickly for him towards his Xeraths, and then he can start getting some real damage down, which he's struggled with up until now. We've seen that Selfie been doing such a, and actually just finishes there onto that Xerath as he comes out of the base. So it was already close to having that one, that tier stacked up for him. Also in the top lane, Mimer, obviously Rod of Ages done another blasting wand in. Kevin, Trinity Force, got a giant spell and a Negatron cloak. And look at this Millenium pushing a little bit down middle. Need to be careful here that they don't get surrounded, but Selfie's moved into a split push position in the bottom lane.
So that Seraph's Embrace shield will be very helpful for Kerp in addition to the exhaust to survive the burst damage that Selfie's going to be putting onto him. The Rod of Ages still has about 3 minutes to go before it is fully stacked, and Kerp is still yet to upgrade to Sorcerer's Boots. Once Super Hot crew start investing in some MR, Kerp is going to need to get penetration to remain relevant. Mimer on the other side has got that Rod of Ages. It is already fully stacked, and he's got a Rabadon's Death Cap to back it up. So Super Hot crew are looking to instantly win fights by comboing the burst damage of Gragas plus the burst damage of Selfie. And on the assumption that they hit their spells, their skill shots, then Elise and Tristana can look to jump in, and Tristana with resetting rocket jumps obviously can put a lot of damage down. With that Infinity Edge, MrRalleZ most likely going for Static Shift next.
Oh, Mimer and Kevin here having a little altercation in the top lane. Not much damage going down overall though. It's Mimer that was on the bad end of that stick, if you like. down to half HP. But we see both teams have been quite happy to stack up somewhat in this middle lane. They sent their mid laners down towards the bottom side of the map. There's the hook onto Impaler. He's going to repel, but he's not going anywhere, or is he? He flashes out as he hits the ground, and there is the Requiem, and there is the death. Kerp getting another kill. That was a good wind wall to stop the hook.
Yeah, but the problem is, it cost a flash from KaSing. The wind wall came up, and KaSing still insta-flashed in fear of it connecting. Impaler needed to get away from that hook. 1v1, you talked on how Kevin was beating Mimer a moment or two ago. That is the Trinity Force plus Giant's Belt. Mimer's built pure AP, he's a mage. It's not over.
That was amazing stuff from Selfie. Can he get any more? Kerp actually going pretty low because he's tanking up the tower this entire time. There's the binding onto Creaton. They turn it around. Kevin diving in, gets himself one. Will be finished off by MrRalleZ though, who gets the red buff and instantly turns away the other side. Oh, that hook just going to the side of KaSing. And in the end, 2 for 2.
2 for 2 after Kevin actually teleports in and tries to tower dive past 2 towers. So Millenium, they find a small advantage and then give up that advantage to their opponents. A 3-0 Tristana that has got enough money to pick up a Zeal or similar in a moment or two is very terrifying. MrRalleZ is going to outscale Corki in terms of range and make life very difficult for them. But we do see MrRalleZ and Selfie just again, the mobility, dashing all around the map. This is a 4 versus 3. And KaSing has been very on point. He's dodged the skill shot he needed to, connected with multiple dark bindings. And Super Hot Crew now going to see if they're going to challenge for this next dragon. They gave up the last one previously because of poor positioning. They're going to be here maybe a little bit late, but I think they're looking to fight. There's a teleport available for Mimer. He can join if he really wants to. Or he's already there.
No, too late for that one. It's Kottenx that will be able to take that one down. Just head straight on out. And Impaler using his smite there as well, but to no avail. Second out of 3 for Millenium. We see that gold lead that was well and truly with the Super Hot Crew has really come back, and now they've caught out Impaler on the top side. They're going to try and burst him down, but he will repel. A good barrel comes out of Gragas, but Mimer getting hooked into it as well. Kerp's right in the middle. That's exactly what the Super Hot Crew needed to avoid. Mimer will actually survive on the bottom side, and MrRalleZ turns it around to go on a rampage. 1-for-1, junglers down.
The scary thing about that fight is Millenium had 5 members pushing forward, and they were unable to beat 4 members of the Super Hot Crew. Super Hot Crew were dancing on the back foot all the way, and despite trading 1-for-1, they still come out by getting the tower. So they've lost the dragon in terms of net gold, and Selfie was pushing in the bottom lane. So the reason Millenium committed and engaged for that fight is Selfie was not with them. He wasn't around. I am getting a little nervous for Impaler because he's been caught out of position, it was a bit close, a couple of times, and it was Jree and Kevin sort of running him down sort of north of that mid lane that started that engagement. So good defensive duty from Super Hot Crew, making the best of a bad situation and grabbing their 3rd tower of the game. They haven't lost a single one yet.
No, that's very true. Something that Super Hot Crew have not been able to really break, despite 7 kills, 4 of which with MrRalleZ. We'll see what he's going to be finishing off next. We're going Static Shiv to add on to that Infinity Edge. As we see for his mid laner as well, Selfie going for that, and there is a Static Shiv picked up. On the other side, Trinity Force is going to be an Infinity Edge next for Creaton as well. So
something that we haven't touched on in terms of Super Hot Crew's comp, they are quite reliant on Selfie and MrRalleZ to be very mobile and be very problematic for Millenium. While Mimer and Impaler do have a lot of magic damage, you know, Gragas' burst has been reduced and he needs to get in the thick of things. Gragas needs to get in melee, much like Impaler in Spider form, to sink those fangs. And that's exactly where Millenium want them. That's his 2v1. We'll see if Mimer can get away. He's got no flash.
Well, he's thrown his ultimate here already, and that may just be bad news. Scrying going to be used, and it's Creaton that will be able to finish it off. Meanwhile, Kevin also being caught out on the bottom side of the jungle, but there's the safety of the Lantern. Jree brings Kevin back home to safety.
So Kevin manages to stay alive. Super Hot Crew on the invade. They cannot even out that kill score. Even though Mimer went down, he's still even on CS. And look at Selfie. He is starting to split push. I actually really want to see how Selfie handles Kevin. Despite the fact that Kevin's got a Randian's Omen, I actually think Selfie, with the amount of damage and I-Edge and Static Shiv, he should be able to 1v1 Kevin.
Blue team's turret has been
and
destroyed.
We've seen how terrifying.
Especially with the last Whisper now coming.
Well, we'll see if he's going to pick that one up. Sitting on 1,200 gold, so he's got the money for it. But look, nobody from Millenium is coming to back up Kevin. They're trying to defend their red side of the jungle, and Selfie's now moving himself. Selfie's moving himself over to the mid lane. It's a slower game. Both of these teams are only looking for skirmishes really around dragons, and both happy to scale.
Oh.
Little scary. Black shield.
Oh, wall of pain going down.
Yep.
Yeah. Couldn't quite catch him there.
No.
Selfie has now gone back, so last Whisper is done for him, which basically is going to negate a lot of that Randuin's Omen out of Kevin, which makes it a lot harder to put onto that. I don't think that Kerp is going to be able to hold on to him. I think he'll just blow him up if that comes to a 1 versus 1 to stop that kind of split push. I'm not sure that they can do that.
I think so too. And the only thing I'm trying to measure in my head is how Super Hard Crew want to play this late game. They've got pretty good wave clear with Gragas, you know, with Tristana and her AoE on those explosive shots. But they are very reliant on bursting Millenium down. With the build that Mimer's put together and the amount of damage Selfie's got, if they don't burst Millenium out, Millenium can, you know, survive the assassination attempt and then win through sheer force of numbers. As this game progresses, I think I prefer having a Karthus and an Irelia and a Corki on your team. But the only thing Millenium have to deal with is the very, very long range that MrRalleZ is building up. If they can get around MrRalleZ and Selfie, I think that's how Millenium will have to win this game. And the pressure will be on Kevin and Kottenx to put damage on them, to allow Kerp to assassinate with the Requiem. It's basically guaranteed damage, and you've got a Banshee's Veil. Even that is fairly easy to pop.
Well, Impaler has already got a Banshee's Veil while we're on that subject, and Selfie continues to push this bottom lane out. Kevin was actually waiting for him in the brush there on the side. I don't know if Kevin really wants that fight. On top of his Trinity Force, damage-wise, does have a pickaxe in there as well. And also to note is that Creaton did finish off his Infinity Edge on top of that Trinity Force. So looks like the Super Hard Crew are just looking for opportunities. I'm not sure that Kevin really wants this fight. You know, he's 2 levels behind Selfie as well.
No, and you've seen the damage he took just from one single critical hit. What Super Hard Crew are doing very well is they are splitting up Millenium. They're playing a 1-3-1 split push. With the disengage threat, with the disengage that Tristana and Morgana have, it's very difficult for Millenium to stick to the 3 of them wherever they roam. And because Selfie can basically 1v1 anyone, they've got Kottenx.
Yeah, he's going to get caught up here with everything that they've got, trying to get away towards Selfie though. Going to go towards Corki. Didn't quite catch on to Creaton, but with the jungler down, this is going to be a dragon for the Super Hard Crew.
They didn't even use a single ultimate. Chained every single target CC they had. Blew Kottenx up, grabbed the second dragon from the first one. That's the first time that they've made a positive, well-timed play around the dragon pit. Previously, it had all been about Millenium. And is this going to be bad? There's not a lot of vision, so this is a little risky. Anytime Super Hard could group up around one of these priority objectives, it gives Kerp a lot more power. It gives Kerp a lot more presence. But Jree is not there. There's no vision for Millenium in the pit. Creaton's going to make his way, and Mimer's actually going to run into first. That's so quickly and safely done.
Yeah, I mean, Tristana in there. Static Shiv, Infinity Edge. You've got Yasuo as well. You see how fast they strip that Baron down. There's the Wind Wall coming up again from Selfie. Possibly showing us once again why you ban away that champion. There's a flash play. Can they actually lock him up? An early flash on Selfie. He'll be chased through though. That's a good strong kill for Millenium. They might try and push back now.
I don't know why Selfie was there in the first place. He burned his wind wall to block a death sentence and then moved away from the rest of his team. Super Hard Crew were placing vision in Millenium's jungle. So Millenium get themselves a kill. They remove the Baron buff from Selfie, and how many towers will they get? That is the question.
2.
Impaler and Mimer are returning very, very late. Millenium are now on the inner turret in this mid lane, 30 seconds before Selfie is up. He's got no flash, he's got no cleanse, and that is just a positional error. The rest of his team was not going the mid lane and didn't anticipate the flash engage from Jree.
So yeah, KaSing trying to keep that minion wave as far away as possible. Actually, ultimate use there out of Mimer to try and keep them away. There's a lantern from Kerp. or for Kerp to get him away from any danger, and they managed to hold on to that inner tower. So they've traded Selfie in the Baron buff. Well, I say traded, they lost it, and they lost that outer middle turret, but managed to hold on to the inner. So not all that bad. It's still only a 3,000 gold lead here, though, for the Super Hot crew.
And the middle and top outer turrets are the only towers Millenium have secured. Millenium, again, have been playing reactively, they've been playing like Super Hot crew played the last 2 days. You know, Super Hot crew were playing to not lose and very defensive, sitting on their hind legs, and it's just not really creating a huge amount of possibilities for Millenium. The times Millenium have moved around the map and done positive things has been those dragon pits. They've timed it well, they've generally had good positioning. And with Kerp having completed his death cap, got the Seraph, got the Rod of Ages, most likely working towards either Hourglass or Void Staff as his next item. We've seen 2 Requiems? 2 or 3, basically, in a 33-minute game. The opportunities have not been presented for Millenium to take advantage.
All we're going to see here, Selfie is going to go on to Kerp. There is the one crit that he's looking for, but he's trying to lock him up with this one. Ultimate comes out. There is the kill onto Kerp, and Selfie will finally go down. In fact, the Super Hot crew joining him with a lot of people. Requiem this time is going to be going off, but didn't really do all that much, and now they've managed to lock up Kevin. MrRalleZ turns around, a lot of damage from him. KaSing's ultimate is running as well. Kevin flashes last second. Impaler will chase him, but the hook from Jree, I'm not sure he's going to save him because of the dark binding there. Impaler picks up 1. That's 2 people down now. This should be the inner tower.
There's a minion wave behind them, and so Super Hot crew can continue the focus. MrRalleZ rode that dark binding all the way to Kevin, managing to secure the kill. The Infinity Edge Lost Whisper Static Shift is doing wonders, and this is what we talked about. If Millenium cannot control MrRalleZ, I do not believe that they can win these team fights. Despite the fact that Selfie went down relatively early, Super Hot crew have got a lot of disruption. Oh, that was a little close. And they got a lot of damage to follow it up. So Super Hot crew take the 4th tower of the game. Another kill goes to MrRalleZ. And look how quickly everybody gets involved. I actually think Kottenx kicks Selfie out of the defile damage, which is a little unfortunate. And Selfie simply re-engages, realizing Requiem was going to kill him. I think he was just trying to get more auto attacks and more damage down. But I think, you know, between Impaler and KaSing, they landed every cocoon and dark binding that they fired during the course of this engage. And MrRalleZ is just, again, so there's 2 cocoons, 2 dark bindings, and MrRalleZ in his house. Landing the skill shots, and earlier in the game we didn't see Millenium do the same.
And it's a worrying sign when Kerp going down so quickly. His Requiem not really strong enough to blow anyone up in that fight. Probably needs to get that Void Staff done here quickly. And are we answering that question for you? I think we may possibly be doing that. Which mid laner is going to be coming out ahead in this game? Currently, neither of them massively high scoring. 3-3-3 for Selfie, 2-2-4 on the other side. Oh, ultimate going to come in. There's the knockup that he's looking for. Kevin actually takes a lantern, though, back behind his own tower.
Can that get Super Hot crew a tower? That is the question. They have minions pushing the bottom lane. They have minions pushing the top lane. So the Super Hot crew have got damage on Kevin, and they've just roamed themselves up to the top. I like the decisiveness. Again, KaSing has hit so many dark bindings. And MrRalleZ is going to grab another tower. Baron buff is worn off. There's no last breath yet, but it's such a short cooldown. Super Hot crew are just grabbing the reins in this game, Joe.
Stepping forward with 36 minutes on the clock. See, 60 to 55,000 gold lead. 5-2 up in turrets. We've got another Baron in just under 2 minutes and just under 20 seconds for the next Dragon to come in. And after all that, we actually have MrRalleZ sat on another good chunk of gold. Looks like he'll be going Bloodthirster next with that Vamp Scepter from earlier on. Already a Bloodthirster done on the other side for his opposite number, Creaton. And here will be a free Dragon. Should be at least.
I would imagine so. I don't see Millenium committing to a team fight blind, realizing their opponents have most of their ultimates available. And Super Hot crew, strong early game, faulted someone in the mid game. They're now playing these side lanes. I'd like to see them go back to split pushing once Mimer gets his teleport available, because Selfie is uncontrollable. Got a Randian Zone completed. He's going to be able to probably duel Kevin, even though Kevin's got the makings of Zephyr and that Randians. But look at that, one single crit onto Kerp and takes about 20% of his hit points off.
I'm just going to keep pushing this one out, surely. Gragas able to just thread those barrels in behind, and that's a full-on damage from Mimer as well. That build, Death Cap, Rod of Ages, Void Staff, going to be going Lichbane in here next as well. So
for Super Hot Crew, a explosive cast from Mimer or a Dark Binding from KaSing could set something up. Whenever you've got those Ziggs and those Gragas ultimates that are super AoE, super disruptive, you can throw them just to guarantee the objective. Super Hot Crew didn't even need it in that scenario because Millenium just backed away. Out of fear of the team fight, out of fear of what Super Hot Crew can do. And I'm going to go back to picks and bans and talk about this Karthus pick. Every single member of Super Hot Crew has some form of spell or ability that can help deal with Karthus, either his damage or getting out of range of his damage. And I'm not entirely sold on the pick.
Hot coming in there, but not quite the range. Millenium might have to think about doing I want to say a quick Baron, not that it'd go down particularly fast when you compare it with the last one that the Super Hot Crew took, but Millenium needs something in this game, and it's getting to that level where a Baron steal, or a sneaky Baron for that matter, is what they're probably going to need, the magnitude of that kind of pickup.
Yeah, and I also think for Millenium, one of the other options is to catch Super Hot Crew with a Thresh, with the Elise in. You're always going to have those outplay possibilities. Death Sentence, Lanterns, the insect-style kicks. And if Millenium don't find them, then I think the team comp of Super Hot Crew is scaling very well. They're doing a good job. They're jumping on Selfie. If Millenium group up, Selfie's going to go in for the ultimate.
Oh, there's a barrel coming out from Gragas. Actually, they're going to go towards Impaler on the top side. He's been almost left alone. The rest of his team start to work around, and Millenium losing a lot of health. Mimer didn't quite put the barrel in the right place there, but they force Millenium completely back. Impaler will actually go home to heal now, and it looks like the Super Hot Crew are going to look to push towards the inhib.
Yeah, I think they can push the minion waves very, very effectively. With teleport up on Mimer, Super Hot Crew can go back to the 1-3-1. It worked for them 10, 12 minutes ago. Maybe they're afraid of it this time around. Maybe they're afraid of being jumped on, but nevertheless, Super Hot Crew get away with their lives. Impaler forced to flash. He was the one out of position, and Kevin has teleported for this Baron. It's going down quick. Remember, Karthus will melt Barons very, very quickly. That HP is super, super low. I think Millenium have done it.
I think they've done it here. We see KaSing coming around the side, and Millenium do manage to sneak the Baron. Can they fight here, though? Selfie's at half health, and I think they're just going to back away. They need to be quick here. They need to be decisive, because the Super Hot Crew pushing up this mid lane. Millenium have to react fast.
I don't know how Super Hot Crew could have left the Baron pit. There was a dance going on for several minutes, and it was quite clear Millenium wanted to make that play. Selfie did steal a blue buff, but he got a blue buff in exchange for 5 members of Millenium grabbing themselves Baron buff. That is definitely not a fair trade if ever I've seen one. So Selfie's pushing out the bottom lane. Let's see if Mimer's going to go top. Because like I said, he's got that teleport. We've got KaSing maybe working himself towards a Zhonya's Hourglass. A lot of very big items being picked up, and one good team fight for Millenium. One team fight where the box can surround several members and Flay holds people in place for Kerp to get damage down. It could swing it, The gold difference, while it is a little high, the stats that Baron gives Millenium will work in their favor.
And at this stage of the game, it's just that one fight. As you mentioned, doesn't matter, I think, about that 6,000 gold. If Super Hot Crew lose one man and end up having a real rough time of it, as we see all the pain come down the backside. That turret already down to half HP. Selfie got the knock up onto Jree at the back, but he wasn't the target that they wanted. And Millenium, with that Baron buff on, starting to feel the confidence of it.
So Kerp has got Baron buff, he's got a whole bunch of items, and he's got a blue pot running. He's got 801 ability power. The Requiem at this stage is dealing around 1,000 damage before magic resistance comes into effect. Selfie's looking for an aggressive play. He needs a knocker, and that can come from Tristana, that can come from Mimer. We need to see who's going to be the first one. Jree does not have the box available for another few seconds. Super Hot Crew backed away. They didn't get the knockups they needed, so they lose the tower.
And I wonder if they'll use the Requiem here in an aggressive stance. They stood on the tower, pop the Requiem, and just say we have to back off now. That gives them the inhibitor. We'll see about that one, though. The way that Kerp's using it, I'd say very sparingly throughout this game so far. looking for options to pick up kills. Selfie once again before dodging quite far forward, trying to get that knock up across a couple of members so that he can pop his ultimate and really do the damage. But up until now, Millenium holding their ground pretty firmly.
Wave clear is pretty effective for Super Hot Crew. The long range of Tristana plus explosive shot is working in conjunction with the barrels. And Mimer, again, we just keep talking about, he's gone full burst. His build is prioritizing assassination along with Selfie. Disperse and blow them up. And let's see if they can get some CC. Wind wall is now down. They've caught Kerp.
Oh,
I think they're going to go in.
They caught Kerp here. Oh, he takes a lantern though. Didn't really lose any health from that either. I think the Super Hot Crew needed to be faster on that one. And Kerp is able to get away. Banshee's Veil there for Impaler. Selfie again, he's stepping forward. What are the Super Hot Crew going to do with this one? Banshee is now down. There's a dragon available. Millennium wants it. They need to be careful about the map positioning here though.
3 minion waves were pushed into that middle tower, and Millennium did not get an auto attack down. Because again, Corki, very short range, was unable to get onto that tower. Look at the minion waves, both top and bottom. It is in favor of the Super Hot Crew. So Millennium cannot continue that siege out of threat of losing a fight and then losing towers. So, Millennium grab the dragon. What can Super Hot Crew grab from this? Teleport is available for Mimer. Can they get to the inhibitor turrets quickly enough? The focus is potentially top lane, while Creaton is bottom lane. So this is going to give them a few seconds uncontested. They're not even racing for it. They're really not pushing. Wow.
That's a big swing already for the second time. 80-20 in favor of Kerp. And he is pretty much a full itemed Karthus at this stage with a lot of
ability
not
power.
Quite HP, but a lot of AP.
Got your back, Joe.
I know. Everyone knew what I meant anyway.
Yeah, we did. We did. It doesn't matter having AP if you can't put the damage down. And Super Hot Crew have not given them a chance.
No. And I totally agree with that. Again, with the likes of Dark Binding, the Buster Shot, the barrel out of Gragas, it's hard for Kerp to get in there. But at this stage of the game, 45 almost into it, he only needs to get in there once.
So the team that makes the mistake in these next few minutes of rotational play will be the team that loses, in my opinion. Neither Super Hot Crew nor Millennium have made super aggressive plays. While Millennium had Baron buff a moment or two ago, I think that's actually still ticking on them, and it has worn off actually. They were half-heartedly sieging, but no death sentence connected. The wave flip from Super Hot Crew is good. They're going to dive Selfie. This is a good play.
Yeah, this is exactly the play that they were maybe looking for. He's trying to stay behind his wind wall there. They've got enough health to dive in, but he's walking through the minions. Is surely going to go down. No, it's not. Here comes the rest of the team. Kevin will actually fall first. Requiem does come through to get one kill. Well, it's 2 men down for Millennium, and the Super Hot Crew chasing. Here comes Kerp from the side, though. He flashes on top of them. Exhaust going to be used. He is going to go down, and he's still doing a little bit of damage, but they've lost too much too early on in this fight. Jree will try and escape on the top side. He's now the last man alive. And the Super Hot, nice cocoon over the wall. No follow-up to it though, but it leaves just Jree, and look at those spawn timers.
1 for 4. Millennium threw every single thing they had at Selfie, and Selfie stayed alive long enough for his entire team to respond. There was a massive black shield on Selfie, but it wasn't enough to keep him alive through Kerp's damage. And Super Hot Crew completely outplay Millennium in the tower dive. We talked about how neither of his teams had made massively proactive moves. Oh, I wonder if they're going to finish his minion waves. And it's only Jree, but he's going to play defensively again, much like the rest of the game. And I don't know if Millennium were that far down, were that desperate to really go for the fight. Look how far away the rest of the Super Hot Crew are from Selfie. His mechanical play in this scenario is next to perfect.
He got his ulti off for the end as well onto Kevin, which is
Kevin and Jree. So Kevin and Jree got knocked up, and you know, despite the fact that Kerp shuts him down with that Requiem, Super Hot Crew really responded effectively. The exhaust used on MrRalleZ, while it kept him out of the fight somewhat, it didn't change the outcome. Millennium invested everything important onto Selfie, and Selfie still got a lot of damage. He still bought all the time that his team needed. And we'll see. Baron started, ultimates mostly available for Super Hot Crew, but they're going to be arriving actually a little sooner. We'll see if they're going to go engaging.
This is surely all or nothing. The knockup doesn't quite land onto Cocoon does, but there is a Baron Pinto stolen away by the Super Hot Crew, and that was amazing from Impaler, and now they just turn onto Millenium, get 2 quick kills, get 3 quick kills, and surely this is going to be at least in walking away with nothing. Creaton still alive as a last hope maybe, but without the inhibitor, with the super minion to tank up the Nexus turret, it looks like the Super Hot Crew are going to take the win.
Impaler gets Baron. There was a 3, maybe 4-man knockup and last breath there from Selfie. Fantastic fight. We talked about the AoE and how Super Hot Crew did not want to be grouped up for Kerp's damage, while Millenium sure as hell did not want to be grouped up for Selfie's damage. They've done it. Super Hot Crew picked up the first win they need for that potential 3rd place tiebreaker.
Brilliant victory there. It was a tough and a long game for them, actually. 48 minutes, let's call it here. Not the easiest as wins, but it was a much needed one for the Super Hot Crew. They were 0-2 for the week coming into this. They weren't happy with their performances. Impaler said, we need to get our stuff together before playoffs comes along. And this was better from them, still by far not the perfect game, but a win's a win.
2 games in a row where the losing team has given their opponents signature champions. Diamond carried Gambit with Evelyn, a champion that has been banned against him for weeks. And Millenium gave Selfie Yasuo. While it was not necessarily the most game-changing performance, you cannot deny the fact that the 2 fights in that bottom lane in the Baron pit, it was Selfie's involvement that very largely contributed to Super Hot Crew winning. But to be fair, Super Hot Crew held the lead. They had map control. They were dictating the tempo of the game to Millenium the entirety. And
MrRalleZ, who just went completely unnoticed, I think, in a lot of those fights, didn't die the entire game, 7-0-5. Put out more damage actually than anyone on his team, out-damaged Selfie in terms of damage to champions done. And, well, it was just a performance that I think we were waiting for the Super Hot Crew all week long. They've obviously had a lot to talk about overnight. Something's gone right for them. But on Millenium's side, questions when it comes to picks and bans, questions when it comes to execution as well.
I think so too. The Karthus pick for me, I still find very questionable. When Millenium ran it into Fnatic's comp, the Kottenx fight, it didn't work. They ran it into multiple champions that had mobility, and it didn't necessarily work out again. It feels like it's a bit of a fallback pick, and it's not one that I'm completely sold on.
Well, guys, after that game, it's time to take a quick look at the